transforming musical linguistic objects, elf machines.
Greetings from Cyberdelic Space. This is Lorenzo, and I'm your host here in the Psychedelic Salon. And I've got something a little different for you today, but first I want to let you know that at the end of this podcast I'll give more details, but the Oracle Gathering has now been rescheduled for July 31st and August 1st and 2nd. And it's going to be held in a different but truly spectacular place. And I'll give you all of the details in just a bit. But first, I would like to thank some of our wonderful fellow saloners who sent in donations this past week that I'll be using to help pay some of the expenses associated with producing these podcasts. And those two people are Karen A. and Marie B. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time in almost 4 years of podcasting from the salon that all of the week's donations have come from women. As has been discussed here on several occasions, while there are as many women who are involved in the psychedelic community as are men, we don't often get to hear from them, mainly, I think, because us men are such loudmouths. So it's very comforting to know that you ladies are out there doing what you have been doing since we first began walking upright, and that is taking care of us grown-up boys. So thank you ever so much, Karen and Marie. And that goes for all of our women saloners who join us every week. Your presence here in the salon is very important, and even though us guys may not always behave very well, we certainly do appreciate the civilizing influence that you bring to our lives. And by happy coincidence, we will also have a young woman joining us for today's talk, which, as I mentioned, is something a little different from my normal programs. A few weeks ago, Mateo Palomari, who you know from several previous podcasts, and I spent some time camping out in the mountains with a small group of close friends, two of whom are Missy and Andre Nobles, who you will hear from in a few minutes. As you will hear, Missy is a dancer and Andre is a musician, a minstrel actually, and I mean that in the truest sense of the word. But rather than say any more right now, I'll just let them tell you their stories themselves. Of course, you Mateo fans already know that he'll be adding his 2 cents as well. And that's a good thing, even though I tease him about it from time to time. So here is how this recording came about. The 4 of us had been hanging around for several days, talking, hiking, and playing music, when Mateo suggested that we turn on a recorder and capture a little of what had evolved into a long conversation over several days. What I'm going to play for you now is a part of the recording we made that day. So let's get comfortable and we'll join Missy, Andre, Mateo, and me as we try to figure out the meaning of life, or something like that.
Welcome, my brothers and sisters. It's Mateo here on the Psychedelic Salon with Lorenzo, and I am deeply honored to give you a treat today, whatever day you're listening. I'm really happy to introduce my friend, my spirit brother, Andre Nobels. And I need to tell you a few things about Andre before I launch him on you. Also, really quickly, I do want to say big love to everybody out there. Thank you all for listening. Especially Brother KMO and Cody and Sancho. We love you guys, and you guys are all making it happen, and everybody else out there. Thank you. We love you, and we're going to prove it. Here's the thing. I met Andre a while back in some shamanic work, and as soon as he opened his mouth, I was like, roar, because he hit me right in the heart. And I listened to him play and sing, and it really got my attention. Now, Cody and Sancho, I know a lot of you guys probably know, I'm a musician myself. I've played and sang all my life. But when Andre began to sing and play, I was really overwhelmed. So then, being a homie, I bought his music, and I went home and I was listening, and I was, enjoying the music, and I was listening to the music and the sound of the music and what he was doing. and I was loving it. And then I was so caught up in that, I took a couple listenings, and suddenly his lyrics started to hit me. And they blew me away. And so I kept listening, and soon enough I was obsessed. And it brought grief to my domestic situation because I got in an argument with my wife over who's his biggest fan. And so his music's been following me, and I've been dazed, amazed, and half crazed for days, and seriously delirious listening, because I go to bed at night, it's in my head, it's playing all the time. So I had the pleasure of spending some extended time with him. We got to play and jam, and I got to sing with him and his beautiful wife Missy. Did some great percussion work. We was jamming, man, and it was really something. So I looked him up on MySpace, and I sent him a message, and the header was, "I have a real problem with your music." And then when he opened it up, it said, "I can't stop listening to it." And he appreciated that. So we spent some time in nature, really connecting and realizing how we are all one, one spirit. And we had some wonderful, wonderful discussions about creativity. And one of the things we talked about extensively is genius. Now, I need to share some things about genius, whether you know it or not. And they did a survey of geniuses all over the world, every genius they could find more or less at the time, some years back. And every one of them, to the man or the woman, every one of them said, "It ain't me. It's not me. It's beyond me. It just comes through me." And I had a moment in the jungle a couple of years ago where I decided to do a drum solo, and I decided to play my body, which I had never done. One of the great things about being a drummer is it doesn't matter where you are, you always got your instrument with you. And as some of you know who've read my work and stuff, I grew up poor, and my dad was a big band jazz drummer, so wherever I am I can play, which is a wonderful thing. So I got inspired to do this drum solo with my body, and working with the plants in nature, and I got this thought, and I said, I'm going to really totally put my ego aside, just shut up and go away, and let it rip. And some truly amazing things came out, and I blew everybody away, but I think I blew myself away more, because there was no ego. It was just coming through me. And this is what happens when Brother Andre plays. So when you listen to what he sings and has to say, when your heart is open, you're going to feel his heart, and you're going to feel what comes through it, which is really a beautiful thing. So I think at this point, without further ado, I'd like to introduce proudly and honorably my friend and my brother, Andre Nobels.
Thank you, Mateo. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let me, this is
please.
Lorenzo. I just want to also
Lorenzo.
welcome you and Missy to the salon. That you've been in our hearts for a long time now, and it's great to have you physically here in the salon, too.
Yeah,
So
it's
welcome.
nice to connect with this family. I feel a big coming home meeting you guys, and now meeting you, the audience, and connecting. I think the music has a life of its own, and it will land where it needs to land in the hearts of those who need to hear it. And it's my goal is to definitely get out of the way so that the genius of the divine can go to work, because my little brain can't figure it out, that's for sure.
And you hear the humility in there, because there ain't no ego here.
Yeah, and that doesn't come lightly either. That's a big commitment and a journey that we all need to take in life in order to discover who we are, which is ultimately nothing and everything. And that takes a lot of courage and commitment, seeking, trying, doing all the things that make us human, all the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, embracing it all. I think that word acceptance pops in a lot these days, and I think that's a mantra for our times. Acceptance, and look look beneath the surface. It may look like shit on the surface, but underneath, it all plays out, and there's something cosmic going on. And I think tapping into that is the real key to definitely joy, happiness, tranquility, creativity, connection, and ultimately just that pure love that we all want to share with each other. That's what we're here to do.
And gratitude.
Gratitude. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got gratitude for the music and where it takes me. And I have a hard time. I'm going to have to restrain myself when he plays because I'm going to want to play and sing, and I got to shut up because I don't want to mess with the perfection.
Yeah, it's been a real treat meeting Mateo. He's a good mirror for me. And before meeting him and some of the other family that I've been coming into contact with lately, by that I mean spirit family, I didn't really, or I wasn't sure, I guess, where the music was supposed to land, and that was part of my journey in discovering it for myself. So it seemed like as that lined up within myself, then people started popping up that would mirror that. And right now it's about doing the external. As for me, like the last 10 years, for both Missy and I, it's been a big internal journey, a lot of growth, a lot of trial and error, a lot of challenging experiences, and a lot of depth and beauty. And then when you come through that fire, there's something really, really rich and beautiful that you find on the other side. And it's really this oneness, this connection, this synchronicity, this depth, this beauty, this gratitude, this loving. And it's my pleasure to be here today and just spreading the gospel vibe of love.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to mention one thing really quick. Lorenzo and I have been with this part of the tribe. We're celebrating basically our 10th year anniversary. So I've been doing this work, and I've gone down in the jungle now for 9 or 10 years and done lots of work. And Lorenzo has also. That's how we connected. So I think it's kind of has a cosmic significance that at this point in our path, because we've both grown immensely from the work, that Andre showed up at the right time, because there are no accidents.
Yeah, the timing was, kick ass. I couldn't have imagined it being more perfect. And I think, when you're dreaming about your possible futures and thinking about how that might come into play, and you have little threads of the feelings of what you might want to experience, but at least my experience has been when I actually get to those moments and have the realization like, oh, this is what I was dreaming. It's exponentially bigger and more expansive than I could have held, because my perception at the time when I first had the dream had no realization of what that future potential was or is. And so you got to take it step by step. And I always felt like that spirit family was out there for me, and it's been a gentle uncovering, and to really find these guys and see the work that they're doing in the world has been beautiful. And then to add what I have to that is it's a gift beyond words, for sure.
It's a gift, and what we've discovered is that we are gifts for each other.
Such mirrors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and every utterance is a blessing. And tell you what, brothers and sisters, it don't get no better than that.
This is what there is and all there is.
That's right.
Let's explore that idea of that divine spark a little bit deeper. I know Mateo and I had a conversation of it the other day, and this whole inspiration, sort of this pocket of creative perfection and genius is within all of us. And just from our own experience and in our own professions and all the things that we do, maybe each of us could touch on that a little bit for you guys and know, just give a bit of context, a bit of something you could draw from into your own lives that you can take to whatever you do, whatever your practice is, whatever your heart is called to do, so you can find that pocket where you are right there and yet sort of the observer and the action, I guess, at the same time. So I don't know who wants to start, but let's go.
Oh, okay.
We'll go with Mateo. He likes to talk.
Yeah, I like to talk. I talk more shit than a $2,000 parrot. Oh, well, here's the thing about divine creativity. And that really pegs it, because creation is divine. And we are creators. And when we tap into that cosmic oneness and unity, Spirit comes through, and we give ourselves up to Spirit and allow Spirit to move us instead of trying to move Spirit. I may have mentioned this in other podcasts, but you get on this path for a while, and you keep knocking on the door, and you keep knocking on the door. And guess what? One day, it knocks back, and it scares the shit out of you. But there's also a tremendous amount of joy with it, because you've been answered. So when you tap into divinity, the ego basically disappears. Mm-hmm. I mean, then you're in the sweet spot. You're in the zone, mm-hmm. And then you're listening to yourself, and you're blowing yourself away with what's coming through, because it's beyond you. It's beyond us. It's Spirit talking. And when you're in that spiritual energetic, then anybody who's been on the path and anybody who's been opening up their heart becomes resonant with that. And resonance, a key word. And, humor me here, but the whole concept of resonance, in essence what resonance is vibrating at the same frequency. When you go through on a radio dial, you tune an oscillator to a frequency. Just sound like Terrence McKenna. You tune an oscillator. I'll never be Terrence. But you tune the oscillator to the frequency, which is a carrier wave. And when you're tuned to that frequency, you're on the same frequency that the radio station is transmitting on. And you are in resonance. And resonance is harmony. And you're in the same place. I think in one of my wild time travel theories, I think you really are in the same place. I think when you hear Andre playing this forever, all over the internet, it's always going to be right here, right now. Mm-hmm. That will be then, because time is just a thing that the mind does to try to make sense out of reality. So the resonant frequency of divinity is where it's at, and as you work on this path, you raise your frequency, because this is where the planet's heading, is to a higher vibration. Because we've been wallowing in the shit long enough, it's time to grow up. Of course, the flower's got to grow up out of the shit anyway, right? So.
Yeah, there's all place for that, for sure.
That's right. Yeah. But my point is, you're in the same place, so when the music really hits you in the heart, and that's the funny thing that Andre's been saying to me over and over again, you get my music, bro, you get it. And I'm like, damn straight, Billy Bubba. So it's the divine spark of creativity. We are all one. When Andre sings and plays, it's all of us, it's all of you. And that's the beauty of it. You want to kick in there, Lozo?
Yeah, I just a short little thought I had about the divine spark of creativity is for a large portion of my life, when I thought of creativity, I thought, well, I'm creating a work of art or creating a website or a software program. But once I really got in touch with the divine within, I realized that those are just bits and pieces, because what the divine within really is creating is your current life and beyond and in the past. And so when we talk about divine creativity, it's your life is the work of art that you're creating. At least that's my perspective now.
Wow, that's really profound. Thank you for that. Yeah, and did you want to go, Miss?
Well, I mean, part of you guys talking about your 10-year anniversary and your ability to hear and resonate with Andre and his music. For me, a lot of this circle and coming home has been feeling like an initiation and also an inspiration, because it feels like when someone has found their creative dharma, their spark, and they know what it is, and they're living it, and their life is their art, they resonate with that, and then they can reflect it and just share this gratitude and this appreciation. And for me, it's been coming in waves. And at first it was like, can't be me, it can't be me, it can't be me. And then it's like, well, actually, yeah, it's not me. And when I say it's not me, all of a sudden it comes in. All of a sudden I can receive and let that flow through me. And for me, it's movement. For me, it's dance. And it's been such a gift to sit in circles with all of you and to be inspired by what you're doing, and for you to recognize where that comes from and then use your words. For me, all your stories are medicine for me. It's living medicine for me. You have, each of you have different gifts, but all of you here have the gift of words, absolutely, to tell the story of where it comes from, how it feels, and it really helps for me to bring it into context, I guess, what it is I'm feeling and doing, and I really appreciate that. And I know it's heart. For me, I know it's heart, whatever that is. And because the heart's in the body, if I get in my body, I can feel my heart, and then let the heart move my body. So that's my way of finding or tapping into that creative divine, or that spark. It's physical and simple, but the same thing, I think, because I hear you when you describe it. I feel it.
Well, yeah, I got something there. The simplicity idea really hits a chord with me, and I think we each tend to think through society, through our training, that, complex is better, more knowledge is better, and piling on top and piling on top. And at first, that is the way, I think, to get there. You've got to do the work, you've got to practice, you've got to discover what you're capable of and what your edges are, and then you kind of get to this point of throwing it all away. Like the real masters in, say, classical music or any art form, they get to a point where it goes beyond the mind, and you sort of through whatever your path through is, you get to that point where the ego can just rest, because your body has it, your being can take care of the physicality, the mechanics of whatever you're doing. And then once I think you can rest in yourself in that place, then there's space for that divine to come through. And for me, my primary mode is my voice, and to basically I like to just make a foundation with guitar or another instrument, but usually guitar, and then what I'm doing with my voice is like a constant letting go, and that process is being always getting out of the way and finding whatever little pockets of resistance I have, and I feel them very physically, and they're like these little energetic gateways, which over the years, at first felt impassable, like the Great Wall of China, and then like you can just barely get the sound out, and then over the years that resonation sort of breaks down those little pockets, those barriers, until it's getting pure and pure and pure, and you push the envelope, and then all of a sudden you're not even singing anymore. Something is coming right through, because it's recognized that you're ready for that responsibility, you're ready for that voice, you're ready for that energy that is that can't be held by the ego, because it's too confined. It's like taking God, taking the divine, and trying to stuff it in a small box. I mean, that's what we've done here in these bodies. And so it's about looking for that way to allow that to come through the body, and then I think that's when you feel so much alive. And there's that gift again when you feel it and you see another feel it, and you start lighting up like candles, because you get to share it with each other and have so much gratitude for this. Yes, we're starting to get it. And a friend of mine said this morning that we made it. And for me, that sums it up right now. And I think we all have to be very thankful that this time is rolling. We're doing the work. We've made it. And this energy of positivity and hope, I think, has reached a certain critical mass that it would take a lot to turn it back, and I don't really think that it's going to happen. It's gaining so much momentum, And you right now are doing your part by tuning in, by resonating, by being there, being here right now. You're here right now in this moment, connecting, resonating, and lighting up from the inside out. And once that happens, boom.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but these guys provoked me. It's really Missy's fault, but Andre's too. I got to add a couple of things here.
Yes,
I'll go backwards.
It's your turn.
Thank you for indulging me. One of my life's mottos that I've come to is that simplicity is the essence of genius, and there is a real elegance to that. I think Einstein was quoted somewhat on that. I may be ripping him off, but don't tell anybody. The other thing that struck me, what Missy was saying, is about the heart. And what I learned in shamanism about the heart is that the heart is the sun of your personal universe and solar system. And your heart is connected to the heart of the sun that gives us unconditional love, which we would not exist without. And that heart goes back to the bigger one, to the bigger one, to the bigger one, back to the source. There's a beautiful Hafez poem, which now I got to say it. Even after all this time, the sun never once says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole sky. Last but not least...
Thank you for that, bro.
I love it. That's my wife Patty's favorite. She got me going on it. Thank you. It was the time for it. It was Hafez, it wasn't me. I'm not that good.
Well, you brought tears to my eyes, so it's pretty damn good.
Thank you, brother. Last thing I want to mention, probably not the last thing, but in this little soundbite, is I learned in the jungle, in my ayahuasca visions, I've had a number of animals come to me, and in essence, we become in resonance. And as I understand it now, the animal can see through my eyes, and I can see through its. And I've gone through bugs and snakes and insects, and I spent a lot of time with the condor. Brother Andre has major ego mojo, and we've been dancing together and flying on the sky together. And the hummingbird comes to me, and anybody knows everything in my life is picaflor. It's Spanish and Peruvian. Picaflor means picar is to bite, and flora is flower, so it's bite flower, but it's hummingbird. So when the hummingbird came to me in a visionary state, my body started going a mile a minute. I mean, it scared me at first, but I was like, "Hold on, Luke. You'll make it," And then Scotty chimed in, "She can't take any more, Captain." But I hung on, and my body, my legs started flapping a mile a minute, and I was going forward, and we all knew what was going on at the time. It was revealed to us. So when I would be in the jungle in visionary states, and the hummingbird would come to me, and it's so sweet, and she takes me to really high-frequency, beautiful visions. And as soon as I start to think and rationalize about it, she's gone. And if I shut up the monkey mind, she comes back. So it's really a state of not thinking, which is the place you go to when you play.
Right.
So I wanted to share my personal experience with that because it's kind of how I learned. Picaflor really taught me that. And then the last little piece here, it's sort of off on a sidetrack a little bit, but not really. But somebody told me a while back that hummingbirds were the nerve endings of God. I just think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a nice thought. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful thing.
Should I play?
Damn, hell, what are you waiting for?
All right.
You're in for a treat.
what I said. Without love in my heart, I'd be better off dead. So I put myself on the firing line. Knew if I was to be, now is the time. And it took more courage than I could bear. So I opened up to God's glare. And it shone so bright, it broke me down. Down into nothing except His sound. It humbled me. I thought I had the answers to what I see. It shattered me into the true piece of me. Well, I'm moving on, but I'm not the same. I'm done with the lies of playing those games. And I can't explain what I cannot speak. But my vision's clear and my heart's not weak. And I ask you to see just what I do. Oh, don't be swayed by what we say to you. And I love you deep, this I cannot fake. And your heart can hurt, but it cannot break. And I am true, true to the love I have for you. And I see that I'm only just one Well, I was looking for you, that's what I said. Without love in my heart, I'd be better off dead. So I put myself on the firing line. If I was to be, now is the time. It took more courage than I could bear. So open up to God's glare. And it shone so bright, it broke me down. Down into nothing except His sound. Oh, down into nothing except His sound. Down into nothing except His sound.
I don't know about you homies and homettes, but I had me a major goosebump attack.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
guys
you
for
so
listening.
much.
Thank
Perfect song, I think, though.
you. Yeah. So that's a song called Into Nothing, which is, in a way, a real sum up of my shamanic experience. And it's a gift. It's a gift. and it is my title track of my second album entitled Into Nothing, and I really hope you guys enjoy that, and it's for your hearts, and I'm sure Lorenzo will let you know where you could find that music. So much love.
For sure. And probably this is a good point to add that before 2 more months are out, you're going to be exposed to about 15 or 20 hours of me talking, and it's going to be my audio book. And the close of that long talk is going to be some music by Andre. So I'm very honored to be able to use some of his music.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Reciprocal honor, my friend.
Resonance.
Mm-hmm.
Resonance.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, where do we go from here? What's the next step? Andre's been on a road tour. Actually, I should take that back. Their dog Roxy is on a road tour.
She's taking us along for a ride.
We're the drivers.
She came to visit, so she let Andre and Missy come along, which was enjoyable. And it's been a real joy sharing time and space. When they left and my wife went to work that Monday morning, I was freaking lost. I was like, what am I going to do now? I didn't know what to do. But, we got to reconnect and spend some more sacred time together, and there'll be more of that.
Yeah, brings up a cool point that I'd like to share. This pocket that we're talking about, this divine spark, it's not something you can hold on to. And the tendency when you fall in love is to want to hold on to that beloved, to grasp and try to possess. And in a sense, what you do is you kill that spark, and especially when you're doing something delicate and creative, you have to be really in the moment, because the moment you try to hang on to it, it's gone. And that's the training. That's what we're here to learn to do, is to be present every moment, because each one is unique and brilliant, and it's like little petals of a flower, one at a time you're discovering them. And as much as we love Mateo, we're feeling it too. We left, but you gotta move, you gotta change. There's no holding on to it, and we've learned to not say goodbye, because it's really next time we'll see you or see you soon, because there really is no goodbye, and all those experiences we have, they're deep seated in our heart, and that resonance is always accessible. It's like recording a piece of music. It's there, and you can't take it away. It's like that resonance is in the universe now. It's like putting a word down on paper. It's like recording this podcast. There it is, and that's the beauty, I think, of the technology today. All of this stuff coming together, this connective field, and we get to choose what we put in that field. And it's about time we, as the people, as the lovers, put the energy that we want to see and feel in our lives out there, and not just be fed someone else's story, because pretty much it never fits. It can be informative, but
right. But it's not your story.
No, we each have our story to create, and so please do. You owe it to everyone.
I want to add, so when you were speaking about not holding on to that,
Yeah.
I got an image of trying to hold on to smoke, and it made me realize, I knew it anyway, but it just came to the surface. In shamanic work in the jungle, you do a lot of work with tobacco, and you don't inhale it because it's such a powerful ally. But when you say prayers to spirit and to the universe, you send out a puff of tobacco smoke, and because the tobacco smoke goes out and basically dissipates into the ethers, that's your way of contacting spirit. It's putting energy behind your prayers. So in that ethereal moment of spirit, with the music and the playing and the sound, it's really the same essence. It's that going out to spirit,
like making spirit manifest. But it's like fleeting too. It's like it's that brief window where you get to touch it.
That's right. I shouldn't say this. I'm misbehaving here, but that's why spirit matters.
A shameless plug.
I blacked out.
I hope it's shameless. It should be.
Oh, man.
Oh, I got all the shame out
There's
of it.
probably only one person who's more shameless about me than me, and that's Lorenzo.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you want to go into this or not, and if not, we cut it out. But, a lot of the people that are listening right now, our fellow saloners, a good many of them are musicians, artists in various forms, and almost everybody I know that's a musician or artist somehow has to have the day job and gets stuck in the system. And you two have foregone what I would consider a comfortable life. To be a traveling minstrel,
Yeah, absolutely.
you've had to make some serious decisions about your life. And would you care to share how you came about doing that? Because I think it could help maybe some of our other fellow saloners to figure out what they want to do.
I'd be honored to, and I'll start, and then I'm sure Missy will have some things to add. But this is not a decision that came lightly or was made, because I was hating what I was doing or whatever. I mean, I've been there, and I've worked lots of jobs and walked in both worlds and had that experience, and always have in my heart known that music is where I wanted to be putting all my energy. And it was an evolution of coming to terms with where I was at in that resonating field, where I was ready to embrace myself. And it was about embracing this divinity, and the more I'm able to embrace it, the more I'm able to let go of those other things of, say, needing a regular job or other belief systems that have kept me safe in my survival consciousness. And as I transcend that survival mode consciousness, I realize that within the oneness, if I'm being in integrity with myself, if I'm being in pure alignment with who and what I am, then I'm perfectly taken care of in every moment, just as the flowers and the trees and the animals and everything else is, in perfect harmony. And so it's been our goal to tune into that, and we each have our unique path in this life. But I think when you come into alignment with that, you have what you need in every moment. And I mean, sometimes all I got is $20 in my pocket, and I have the thought like, holy shit, I got to make some money. This is really scary. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's an old belief system, and is that the energy I want to create, or I want to focus on the fact that I'm abundant right now, and I have everything I need in this moment. I've eaten, I've got a place to sleep, I've got beautiful friends and relationships, and this expanding universe to express myself in, and be heard and received and gifted, and that, stepping into that flow, at first it's like this huge leap, this huge dive, and it's really scary, and it's a learning, it's a gentle learning, and we're still learning, there's no question. And it's each moment those fears come up for you, but it's about accepting those fears and being, okay, this is how I feel right now, what's that about, and how can I work within the context of who I am and what I know and what's around me, in terms of bringing that into a perspective that fits where I want to go. And that's kind of the essence of it. And Missy, I'm sure you got something to say about that too.
No, I keep seeing flowers. I mean, you've all talked about this flowering, or this idea of a flower, and I've been working with this flowering of my own too, and it's flowers for me are that, I mean, all they do is radiate presence. They're just beauty, and present right there for you in the moment. But to be a flower is the ultimate vulnerable state. They are so vulnerable in every moment. They're so delicate. So that balance of being present and radiating presence, but it seems to me that comes with being vulnerable. So for us on this journey, stepping into this vulnerability has also allowed me to flower. and allowed me to start to smell that essence, to start to taste it, to start to be it and see it in other people. Like I was saying earlier, it's that coming into resonance, you kind of shake your way around it, and then all of a sudden the beauty's everywhere.
Okay.
I can go somewhere with that too.
That's good, yeah.
I got something to add too.
Okay. Missy touched on this idea of vulnerability, and I think it's a real key one. And it's delicate. And it's something that I've learned many lessons around. And I tend to throw my heart open in situations and be maybe overly trusting. And now I feel I've learned the lessons I needed to in terms of discovering what those edges are. And I think you learn by being hurt. You learn by going over that edge, and you understand, okay, being vulnerable is a gift, but you need to honor yourself first. And that's a process of discovering, what you really need and tuning in to your deepest, divine essence and need in the moment. And that only comes with this real delicate presence that you only get by slowing down. I've got this line in one of my songs, don't be fast when you're asleep. And it's, for me, that sums up. It's like often we're rushing through life, and you can't tap into that by moving too quickly, but there can be speed and precision in that openness once you get a hold of it. Another friend told me years ago, it was actually an old farmer. I was working for him, and I was trying to do something really quickly and impress him, and he was like, no, stop. First you get good, then you get fast.
I need to chime in here because this vulnerability thing and the flowering is very cosmic. It's been probably my major life struggle, because anybody who knows me knows I'm the original fucking hard ass.
Mm-hmm.
And getting back to the concept of simplicity and genius and whatever, cosmically speaking, it could sound a simple thing. Fear is contraction and love is expansion.
Beautiful.
That is the essence. As Frank Zappa would say, that's the crux of the biscuit.
The crux of the biscuit.
But I had so much armor I've worked so hard to shed. And it still comes out every once in a while. Sometimes I'm kidding around, sometimes I'm not. If your subconscious is kicking in. But it's really that simple and that basic.
Would you say it's worth it?
Oh, absolutely. But you see, here's the thing. We had this long discussion about power versus force. When you force, everything always has to come into balance, you see. That's why the world's so whacked out right now, because it's all out of balance. Because when you push with force, the pendulum has to swing back.